undeniably effective questions that you can ask yourself in business. It also applies in real life. Not that business isn't real life, but 3 questions that can help you get unstuck and solve any problem that you're facing. So all of us face challenges and problems in our organizations, in our teams. Now, finding the real reason why that problem exists and just ripping it out at the root like you would a weed, that is another question, which is actually what we're going to be talking about today. I did not even plan that joke. Okay, so nobody wakes up and says, you know what? Today, I would like to make a really stupid decision. I just really like to just make things worse for myself. We do not do that, okay? And sometimes as business owners, when problems and things start coming up, we're like, my goodness, what is going on? Why is this happening? Do I just not get it? Like, what am I missing here, right? And so I do not want anybody watching this to think that experiencing problems has anything to do with being intelligent, okay? You are an intelligent, capable person. We are totally capable, okay? But problems are just a natural part of life when you work with human beings. I had a mentor who always told me that when you work with people, things get complicated, okay? So, we have negative consequences, and these negative consequences typically come when we make emotional-based decisions, okay? And we didn't take into account potential second or third order consequences. So, what is a second order consequence? It is tracking down possible consequences that occur from decisions that you make, okay? So, if you have a decision and you say, all right, we're moving forward with this decision. What are the possible things that are going to happen because you made that decision? All right. So that is a second order consequence. I'm going to tell you a story that's going to give you an illustration of what a second order consequence is. Okay. So at one point, the British were in India. And in India, there are poisonous king cobra snakes. And the British did not want any of these snakes there. So what they decided to do was issue a reward, a financial reward. If you brought the British a snake, then they would pay you money to get rid. So hopefully all of those snakes would be gone, right? That sounds like a great idea. But they did not think through second order consequences. So here's what happened. Because of the extermination reward, the people of India said, hey, this seems like a really great way to make money. So why don't we start breeding snakes? So they started these snake farms. And then all of a sudden, there were tons and tons of snakes. And when the British finally caught on and said, hold on, we've been paying for tons of snakes here. What's going on? Why is there so many? And they realized that they had started these farms. The British said, okay, stop. Like, we're not going to pay you just to be paying you. We're not here to pay you to create snakes. We're paying you to get rid of the snakes. And that wasn't working. So they said, all right, this extermination order for these snakes is over. We're not paying you a reward for that. Well, what do you do with tons and tons of just king cobra snake farms? Well, nobody wants those. So they just let them go. So guess what happened? There was 2 times as many snakes afterwards as there was before they had issued this extermination order. So that was a second order consequence that the British did not quite think through. So things like that can happen to us in our organizations, in our teams. So question number 1, and I'm gonna have to look over here on my screen. Let's see. Question number 1, here it is. What am I not seeing? Okay. So now there's actually 3 little questions inside of this bigger question that you can ask yourself. So when you're looking at second order consequences and trying to figure out how might this butterfly into the future, here's 3 more questions you can ask. And I want you to write these questions down because you will want to spend time actually thinking about these questions. Okay. Really awesome questions. Don't do a whole lot of good if you don't have a relationship with them. And when I say relationship, I mean you need to spend some time with them. You need to really invest in these questions and think through and spend focused time answering these questions. And I promise you that focused time that you spend, even if it's only a 10-minute time block, maybe it's a 30-minute time block, whatever you can do, take the time to actually answer these questions for yourself, and you are going to see some major, major progress happen very, very quickly. Okay. So, number one, what's the upside? So, when you have a decision you're about to make, you want to ask yourself, what's the upside of this? Second question, what is the downside of this? Third question, can I live with the downside? All right. So these questions are really important to be asking, because when we make those emotional decisions, we tend to be very, very optimistic, and we tend to not see the potential downside. And you want to make sure that you are strategically looking ahead and being clear about, okay, is this really the decision that we want to be making in our organization, for our team, for our clients, whatever that looks like. All right. So we have consequences of our actions. This is just a natural, normal thing, right? We don't get to choose those consequences, but we do get to choose our actions. I tell this to my kids all the time, right? So the next thing is, the next question has to do with the problems that arise. So inevitably, problems arise, okay? Now, here's a funny little story for you. Sometimes we go try to solve a problem that doesn't actually exist. And that's because we're actually misdiagnosing the problem, because what it really is a symptom. All right. So think about it this way. The fire in a fireplace, or in a, if you're out in the woods, the fire is the problem. The smoke is the symptom. So the smoke is the thing that you see and it's everywhere, right? But the fire, that's what's causing it. Okay. So here's this little story. And maybe you've even heard this before. There was a person who went to the doctor and their finger hurt. And they go to the doctor and they said, "Doctor, when I touch right here, it hurts. Like it hurts. And when I touch right here, it really hurts. And when I touch my knee," by the way, I am not wearing yoga pants right now. Thank you very much. "When I touch my knee, it just hurts. Everywhere I touch, it hurts. Is my leg broken? Is my arm broken? What's going on?" No, they had a broken finger. So everything that they touched, of course it hurt. It's because the finger hurt. It's not because, oh, my shoulder, oh, my leg. So you need to be looking for your symptoms versus your problems, right? So if I asked you to write down the top 3 challenges that you're experiencing in your organization right now, what would that be? I want you to drop that in the comments. Drop 1, 2, maybe 3 of the biggest challenges that you're facing right now. In fact, taking that time, just write those out, maybe kind of an interesting exercise for you to notice, what are those? And here is question number 2. Okay. Question number 2. Am I noticing a symptom or a problem? Okay. Now, everybody has a destination that they are currently at, and I call that your A, letter A. Okay. Where you are is your point A. Where you want to be is your point B. And you have an obstacle. Okay. There is a gap. And that perceived gap, right? That is your when you have a perceived gap, you're experiencing symptoms that are showing you, oh, I am not at point B. I'm at point A, but I'd like to be at point B. Okay. I know this sounds kind of basic, but it's actually incredibly powerful. Okay. So let me know if you're following along. Something is keeping you from getting to point B, and that thing is the obstacle. All right. That is the actual root problem that is keeping you from getting there. And the solution to taking you from where you are to where you want to go, that is the solution to the real problem. It's not a solution to the symptom, because that's just going to be a Band-Aid thing, and it's not truly going to get you where you want to go. All right. So it's super critical that we identify what the actual obstacle or problem is, so that we can create a machine, a solution that actually gets you over that. All right. So question number 2, am I noticing a symptom or a problem? So I'm going to give you some examples of this. In an organization, a symptom might be our sales are lower than usual. Our referral rates are pretty low. We have disengaged clients. My profit margins have been lower than usual the past month or 2 months or 3 months, right? Those are all symptoms you're noticing. You're like, wait, what is going on? Okay. Now let's go up to sales. Why might you be experiencing low sales. This could be depending on who you ask, you're going to get a different answer probably for everybody. All right. Is it because you have poor quality leads? Is it because you have poor positioning in the marketplace? Is it because you're selling the wrong product to the right buyer? Do you have a salesperson who perhaps has low closing rates? All of those are totally different problems that if you were to go solve, unless you know that it's the real problem, you're going to be solving the problem that doesn't exist. Okay. So if you think, oh, I think my salesperson just needs better training, I'm going to go invest in this training program and I'm going to get my salesperson better training because my sales are really low. Well, maybe that's going to be the solution. But what if that's not? What if the real problem is that you have poor positioning in the marketplace and people don't see you as an authority or expert and they don't understand what you do, so you're really confusing them and therefore they don't buy from you. Those are two completely different hiring decisions. When you go hire a solution to get you over that problem, you're going to make two completely different decisions, right? Now, this is also important when it comes to sales. And when you are working with clients, you want to make sure that you know their A, you know their B, and you know the true obstacle that is keeping them from those results that they desire, because that is where you're going to be of highest service. Way too often, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a soapbox here for 1 second, way too often, people are just diagnosing their prescription whether or not that person needs it. Okay. The same thing. If someone is selling podcasting, guess what they're going to sell you and tell you is your solution? Usually it's podcasting. Unless they're an ethical person, then they're going to say, hey, look, your real problem is this, and I'm not going to be able to help you, or I am going to be able to help you. Okay. So please watch for that in the marketplace. And I see this with a broad range of clients. This is not just an online marketing thing. This exists in, the corporate world. This exists in brick and mortar world, in nonprofits. Like this misidentifying what the actual problem is exists all over. That's why I'm doing this training, to hopefully save you guys some of the heartache that comes from missing that. All right. Let's go to the next one. I want to give you a couple more examples. So if you have disengaged clients, let's say, and or maybe you're like, why is I can't get a hold of anybody, or nobody's participating, or something like that. Well, there could be different reasons. Maybe people in your community are trying to get results, but they're afraid and they're just getting stuck, and so they feel embarrassed. That could be one reason. Another reason could be that it's just a seasonal thing. Maybe it's spring break and nobody wants to be working. Maybe it's Christmas break and nobody wants to be working. There's a lot of different reasons. Okay. So this leads us to question number 3, which I'm going to come over here to my screen and pop on for you. Number 3, why might we be experiencing this symptom? Okay. Now, tactical answers. If you're giving tactical answers to this question, you're probably addressing the symptom, not the problem. Okay. So I'll give you an example of that. So let's say I'm noticing and I say, my problem is that my jeans don't fit and I want to lose weight. Okay. So you're at point A. The person would like to be at point B where their jeans fit really great and they lose weight. All right. So we got to identify, what is that obstacle? Okay. So why might we be experiencing this symptom of my jeans being too tight? Okay. Well, what if you go and say, you know what? I probably need to buy a new gym outfit so that I'm motivated to go to the gym. I'm going to buy some new shoes, and that is going to help me fit into my jeans. Okay, maybe. So here's a better question. Here's a better way to look at this. What is not happening that if it did happen would cause this gap between where you are and where you want to be to close or to just disappear, and you solve that? All right. So what is not happening that if it did, it would close that gap? The other side of that is what is happening that if I stopped would close that gap. All right. So I want you to think about this in the context of a problem that you wrote down earlier that you're experiencing in your business. Let's identify, is this really the problem or is it the symptom? Okay. So in this example of wanting to fit into your jeans, if this person was consistently exercising, would that close the gap? Maybe it would, okay? Because that consistency is going to help create that result. Okay. What about commitment? Um, what's what's not happening? Maybe what's not happening for that person is they don't go to the gym unless they feel like it. Okay. So the problem is you don't go to the gym when you don't feel like it. And what you really need to be doing is going to the gym consistently, whether you feel like it or not. All right. So solving that problem of the problem is I don't consistently go to the gym unless I feel like going. The solution to that is going to look a lot different than the solution of, well, you know what? The problem is I don't have a cute outfit to go to the gym in. Okay. Well, you know what? That might help you go to the gym one time, but it's not going to really create sustaining, lasting change. Okay. So please remember that busyness is not the same as being productive. We do not want to go create a bunch of, we don't want to go hire solutions out in the marketplace. We don't want to create solutions for the wrong problem. We don't want to create solutions for symptoms. We want to identify those real problems and be able to take our problems, match them up with the right solutions, and then move forward with an effective plan, with a strategy to make things happen. So, I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions because I know that there's some nuance to this and that it can sometimes be confusing the first time you hear it. You sometimes have to hear it multiple times for it to really click. So I would love to hear if you have any questions from today's training, if you have any future trainings or topics that you are interested in, I would be happy to hear those. Hope you guys have a fabulous day. I'm actually driving to Utah in like 2 hours or so when my kids get off of school. I'm going to do a split the drive up, me and my 4 kids. It's going to be crazy, but it's going to be awesome. So watch for next week. We will have another training, and I wish you all a wonderful week.